Okay, hey everybody, this is Grace, and I am sitting out here. It's 2:58 p.m. on June 26, 2025, and I had just gotten finished watching a video, and it took me a while to watch it, so off and on. I'm also watching Doc Martin. It's something on Acorn TV, and I really like those. I'm starting to like Acorn TV. You know, I like to watch Murdoch Mysteries, which is on that, so it's good to be able to watch Murdoch Mysteries again. And now this one, Doc Martin. But anyway, I was watching this video, and it's a video from someone that I don't like how it makes me think and feel. This person. Now, I'm 62 years old. I'm a person who's nice, quiet. I'm never really rude. I'm never rude, honestly, to people. And I'll tell people off. I'm real stern with it. You know, people who are doing something to me that's obnoxious or just wrong, like go to a grocery store and somebody put their hand in front of my face to get something right where I just walked up to, if they had to be first, I'll flat out say, you know, something like, stand in line and wait your turn. Or I'll just say, how rude. You know, something like that. Sometimes not. As I get older, my filter for what I say actually seems to just dissipate more and more. And I mean, at the same time, it's not funny. But anyway, how this person, you know, in all these years, all my life, I've never really run across someone I just despise. Or, you know, I do, you know, despise their behaviors, different ones, but I never truly despise the person. Is that even the right word I would use? I never truly just dislike them. I never truly hate them. Okay? And you know, I never heard of hate the sin, love the sinner, or you know, something like that until I think I was in my mid-30s or close to it. And this guy had told me, I was a part of a group of we were the computer geeks back then. You know, when we were the ones starting up a lot, all this stuff, social media, yeah. And I had been in since my 20s. Yeah. Anyway, he was a character. I'm telling you. I mean, we had so many different like types. There was hundreds, if not thousands, of people really, and you know, in Texas. And he told me that, you know, hate the sin, not the sinner, love the sinner, or whatever. And I was like, I don't know if I could do that. As I've gotten older, you know, yeah. I see that that's pretty much how I am. It's like it's part of me. It's not like something I can remove and change, and it's not like something I would really want to. Okay, they're people. There's a inside of everybody. There's a story, at least one, of why they wound up like they are. If they're really bad people or really good people with a little bit of a bad side. Have you ever watched that series, Superstore? Yeah, there's a character on there. What is her name? I'm horrible with names, and I just finished watching that whole series. I never liked TV before, so till more recent years. But anyway, Superstore. Her character name was Sandra, I think, and she was a sweet, gentle type, maybe too sweet and gentle, and but she had a dark side. Yeah, and I've seen people like that. That dark side seldom comes out. And when it does, it's dark, you know. I've seen people who are just dark, and every once in a while, their gentle side comes out. So I never really truly hate a person. You know, I despise a lot about them, but not really hate. And I think that's a good thing. Okay. Where was I? But yeah, you know, so it is not like me. It's just not like me in person or online. I took a little break trying to adjust my SUV, by the way. Anyway, it's just not like me to do that. As I said, it's just part of my personality. Not to hate somebody. Some people would say I should hate certain people. It's just not part of me to be that way. And like I said, there's something about them. There's some story about why they're so rotten, why they're so something. And that was not by their fault. You know, like probably when they were children. That's what I usually think it is, when they were a child. And it's so hard to erase those and to change those to, you know, if they, especially if they affect your life. I've had the same thing, though. Something that happened to me when I was a child affected my whole life, and it still does to this day. Okay, physically, I have a rare health condition because of it. And, but it did not make me mean. Did not make me hateful, you know, manipulative, all these cluster B kind of personality behaviors, traits, characteristics, you know, all that kind of stuff. Just I didn't turn like that, and some of them did. You know, and that is a question, why do some and why don't some? Whatever it is a part of me. You know, the way I am, and there's a part of them the way they are. But I'm going to tell you this. This is that one woman. Maybe I'm giving her too much credit, but I am not finding, I think as time goes by, I find less and less about her that I could even think, you know, anything good about. She seems rather pure evil. And it's not the evil that some people think. You know, some people think, oh, you have to be into this kind of weird, dark stuff, or into this kind of weird, dark stuff. This one, that one, the other one. No, I saw something like that. No. I mean, I'm not new to the weird stuff that people can come up with. And I'm really not. I'm not naive. No. A voice sometimes might make me sound real innocent. The words I speak might make me sound real innocent, but you know, naive to stuff, and I am not at all. Seriously. Darkness, I know. Lightness, I know. So, and some just kind of in between. Like I said, this one woman, I just can't find anything I could find redeemable. I think as time goes by, she shows more and more of. It's really, I don't even use these words because, see, this is really not me. I find myself using these words more and more. You know, like low life. Adam actually said low life, but you know, honestly, the one that comes to my mind right now is filth. Seriously, F-I-L. How do you spell filth? T-H. No, yeah, she's a filthy person. And I mean in every way you think of it. You know, I mean, maybe not every way. She doesn't talk about some stuff that someone would say, that's filthy. You know. Well, there's a lot of things people would say that's filthy, isn't there? Still, she just, I mean, some of it can be like her clothing actually looks filthy. And some of it is from, I say 15, 20 years ago, her clothing, and she wears them on a daily basis or every other day, and she has the money that she can buy other clothes. She just doesn't. That way she can, you know, tell people she lies. She's manipulative. She gets money from her audience. by lying and manipulating, telling things like, oh, she doesn't have the money to buy her clothes. And she manipulates their minds. Oh my gosh. If somebody, here's a squirrely coming staring at me. These squirrels are going to come at me one day. They just come and stare at me. Like, what are you going to do? What are you sitting there for? So I'm literally having a squirrel moment. Okay, I had my cell phone cool down. That gave me a few minutes to watch the squirrel and cool down my cell phone, which is my camera. Sitting on the mount, it's 90. Oh my. SUV says 93, which means it's probably like 97, 98, 100. Feels like. Anyway, the sun is right up above me practically. Well, it's at 3 o'clock, so it's not right up above me. Still, it's not. So anyway, this woman, I can't find anything good about her. And I'm not searching for anything good. I'm just not. I just, like I said, just was watching, and I realized I really don't find anything about this woman that is is any good. So I have to tell myself, because of my views on life and Christianity, and I really have to, try to, what is the whole, I need to look that up and memorize it. The one about, basically it says it's easy to care about the people who are like you. It's easy to love the people who are like you, but the people who are not, you still have to love them. If you're Christian, you have to find something to love them. So I try to say, there was a little girl there one time before. That's what I'm trying to tell myself now. But boy, she is evil. And like I said, it's not that evil like she's conjuring up something, some mystical, magical kind of, it's the cluster B, blend of behaviors kind of thing. Just rotten. Seriously. All about her to her is so important in the whole bit. You can go down the road with the love of money as the root of all evil applies to her, and how she sees herself as superior to all people. Well, there are very few that she belongs, and they belong to her, and they don't. She knows it, but at the same time, she acts as though they should. The whole mixture, you see what it sounds like? The whole mixture of the cluster B personality disorders and the DSM, like I said, but the characteristics, traits, some call them symptoms. I've never really called them symptoms, but all of that in one person, and the whole bit. Well, some of the stuff I don't think that is in there anywhere. Like the people who act like it was just in my mind, snubbing somebody, but who are doing this. Oh, how do you put it? Like I said, kind of snub somebody, to actively snub them. Snub is a funny word, is it? Have you thought about it? But this is somebody who does it to her whole audience. Like I was saying, I've made videos. It's not just one, but it is right now, this person I'm talking about. But overall, this is not the first one. Maybe it's because I've seen so many of them, and I say it's so scripted. They basically pretty much do the same thing, not exactly. They don't do all of them, and they don't do them, of course, in the same way. It's different people, different situations. But maybe it's because it's cumulative, my whole life, And as far as online, my original channel that I use for making videos, I have channel before then. Will be 11 years in August. And I've seen so many because, you know, being on that many years and having so many recommended and all this. And so I've seen them once a year, usually the grifters, e-beggars, con artists, swindlers, charlatans, whatever they're going to be called, and whatever kind of behaviors they're doing, whatever reasons, you know, like the people who do reaction channels, which are just as bad as they're hypocrites, and just as bad as the ones they're making fun of, basically. They try to class it up, but not all of them, by the way. Not everybody that does all this stuff is, you know, that bad. Some people are just naive. Seriously naive. Some people think that they're doing something that's okay to do, like this latest thing, the food bank people that go to food banks and get free food, and they've heard these the bad seeds on it. Not everybody does it, but those few who do go there, and so they can use that money that they would be paying at the grocery store. They can use it for things like tattoos, new rings, or take their family on a vacation. You see, they think that those people know what they're talking about because they'll put it out there like, oh, it's so innocent. They're so innocent, and they're helping the food banks because, you know, that's how they do it. If the food banks didn't have us to take, you know, me to come and get this stuff, they might have to throw it out. I have never known a food bank to throw anything out or have enough to do so. And I don't know. I'm not a person going to food banks, but I have never heard of any food banks in my life. Any. And I'm a social and behavioral scientist, so hey. I'm not a social worker, but a social and behavioral scientist. And I can say no. Never heard of food bank throwing away stuff. But they're going to justify it. And then the people that are listening to this and think, oh, I can do this. And they do it. They are the innocent ones. Okay? They've just been hooked, you know, manipulated by these people. And that happens. But I'm telling you, when I see pure evil, I know pure evil. I've seen it my whole life since I was born. I'm serious. I've seen some really awful behaviors. And of course, I don't remember anything from when I was 1 to 3 years old. I do have an early memory from like age 3. Yeah, at some point while I was at age 3, but before then, no. But I know I was born into it. There wasn't any change in those years. Just some people who are very evil. Like I said, it's not this witchcraft or, you know, some kind of dark, evil, you know, stuff. No. It's just the behaviors of people who think that others are on this planet for them to manipulate and to take from and to steal from and to whatever from, to use and abuse. So that kind of evil. And they believe that is their they're entitled to it. And my alarm's going off. So yeah. I had my alarm on my phone, by the way. So anyway. Okay. I had to take another little break and put my cell phone on the air. On the AC. But you know, some of it is, and what I don't like is I feel this need to vent, which I use my channels, you know, some of them. I have more than one after all these years. But to vent and, you know, pressure release valve, things that I see, things that I experience. Sometimes it's just what I see and what happens to other people I see or hear about. You know, to vent about those kinds of behaviors. I usually don't name the person, name the place, none of that. I did in a video yesterday, day before, a restaurant. I was like, I'm gonna have to delete this, but I didn't. Well, it was one of those. And it wasn't really bad. It was just somebody, when we went to a restaurant, and the waitress was being really weird. And she set some people, there were 2 places to sit behind us, but she set 3 people. It was a couple and I guess their sister, one of them's sister or something. And behind us, and probably in their 30s, and one of them reeked of perfume. I have chemical perfume fragrance allergies. I can't be around that kind of stuff. And she reeked. I mean, she must have poured a bottle on. And my reaction was just honest. I didn't do it to be mean or anything. It was just so honest. She sat down and I went, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, because it hit me so hard. And I wasn't trying to be evil, but why did that waitress do that when there were other places? You know, she was being mean. The waitress from before them was being kind of rude. And I have to say, I do want to say something about her. That some people do things and they have something about them that some would say, well, that's kind of a sign. Didn't you know that's a sign? And I don't know if this is a sign or not. But you know how, like, women, especially these days, they'll draw lines, I guess where you would have crow's feet maybe, but draw, you know, make a longer little lash kind of thing outward. It's it gets more and more popular lately. It's been years, but it's more and more popular. And usually they just draw a line outwards. Well, she had hers, like an L, okay, the L back kind of flipped to the other side, and it went out, and then it went up. I'm talking, the line that went up was long, on the side of the eyebrow, long, a black line. I don't know if that meant something. I don't know if it's a new thing that I just don't know about. It would have to be really pretty much recent. Unless, of course, I've just been hiding under a rock. But, I mean, I've seen some pretty weird things. I've seen somebody do their eyebrows in a C, has a C, you know, upside down, the long part, and then the 2 legs. And I'm not talking curved, I'm talking AC. You know, the letter C as in cat, C. Just laying down there. I don't know I've never seen anybody else like that. That was the one and only. But anyway, she was being mean. She was being rude. She was kind of evil. She gave me off a feeling of being kind of evil. I wouldn't want to be associated with her. Even there, I didn't want to be associated with her. She just gave off that vibe, man. And of course, I see people who are just nice and sweet, and there's nothing wrong with them. You know, nothing that would cause me to. The people that were sitting, not in that one, but the one behind it, they were real nice and sweet. And their little boy came running up to me. And he stopped and he looked at me. It was really cute. I kind of looked like one of those, everybody's grandma kind of looked to me. And he just looked at me, he just kept looking at me, standing right next to me. You know, he was walking down. He's like 2 years old. And listen, I find stuff like that, but the pure evil, they stick out to me. But like I said, I can find something good about people. So, but this one, I think it's because there's just so much this one does, so much. I see, and I'm not, how would I say, invested like these other people or her audience. And I've seen it so much, I know the script. And, you know, different people. There's more than one person doing the same kind of thing. These days, there's, it's mainly 4 that stick out to me right now. Mainly 4. There are more, but mainly 4. And, but she is just so much. I think some people would say she is so extra. She's basic, also basic and she's extra. But some people say, how? What? How can you be that? But some of the things, I mean, it makes me want to do. There was one other person made me want to do this early on, but not in the same way, not in this way. This is deep. It makes me want to talk, especially about her appearance, and I do not judge anybody on appearance or size, weight, none of that. So I am a tall woman, always have been tall, female. Me and another girl in kindergarten realized we were tall. We were the tall girls. Kindergarten, waiting in line to go to the restroom with all the other girls, and it's like, why are we so different than them? We were tall. And I call myself a gentle giant. But this woman, I mean, I think when somebody puts out on the world everything how do we even put it, because I just don't judge by this, but when they put out there everything they can possibly put out, maybe not everything, because they don't have those whatever lines going up on the side of their eyebrows, and the C-shaped eyebrows, no, not that, not makeup wise, but in other ways, like wearing dirty clothing, okay, and when you work in the public, in food industry, and wearing filthy clothes, having filthy hair, this stuff just does it, and feels like nobody should say, and lets it be known that she feels this way. Nobody should say anything negative about her, because she's superior. When everything they put out there is they are superior, and they put it out there that way, that they are superior. And I know, I understand, yes I do, I really do. It's still, I'm not perfect, and I'm looking at it, I'm saying, when you're hurting people in the process, when you're hurting lots of people in the process, I draw a line. And I think, I really do feel this way, that sociologists need to be involved when it comes to certain disorders, because for them, they might thrive. The people who have these disorders, they may thrive and still have their awful, evil, sociology, I can use evil, behaviors, but the people around them are suffering. They wind up having health problems. It can be physical, mental, a mixture, whatever, because of it. That needs to be really taken into account, in my view. Just because they're thriving, they're okay, or they're just getting along. What about the other people? You see, what about the other people? And this woman, I think she is so toxic, such a toxic person, that there's nothing in there. There's no clean air. You see? It's pure evil air coming out of her. And then there are so many people who call her stuff like, she is so precious. That is not preciousness. Maybe some of them think she's joking. Now, I was a career student over 20 years. I really wanted to know what I know. I really do know what I know. And I'm going to say there's nothing precious, and she's not joking. No. This is for real. Still. I still can turn and think, there was a child in there, a child that really got messed up somewhere, somehow. Or maybe it was after childhood. Maybe it was but generally I think they start at childhood, quite often. My experience in life, I could be wrong. It could just be my narrow experiences, part of my world, this kind of thing. But some of them, it could be, you know, like the, you know, somebody they married. And that person was horrible, evil. They were with them for years, you know. Something got damaged in there that made this damaged bad. Really, really bad. And now this person is damaging others. I truly feel this way. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I really don't think so. This person is damaging others in a big, bad way. So I have to watch myself, because there is that. You know, it's the, like I said, it's the whole thing. I get why I do it. You know, the whole thing with somebody saying they're superior to others and their whole behaviors are not. They are not superior. They are not even in the way they think that they are. They put out to the world the reason why they think that they're superior. And they're not saying, I'm superior to you. They're just saying, I'm in this class. I'm in this. I need to be around these people. These are the people I have to associate with. And they're the ones that I will only allow to associate with me. And this kind of stuff. They're saying, well, no, you're not. You're not in that class. You're not in that group. You're not in that collective. You're not in that at all. You're not there. And there's obvious reasons that are right there that you're not there. It's that they are what some people use is a more, you know, street, more slang version of what is delusional. When somebody is delusional. And that is what they are. Okay. And then there's the whole appearance. You know, all these contrasts. You know, I don't want to say too much other things, but just the way they are not very hygienic. But I'm going to say very hygienic. They're not very logical. They're cold as ice and heartless. They believe in that rules are made for other people. Rules have to be followed, and laws have to be followed in their minds by others, but not them. These are not made for them. They do not have to abide by rules and laws. Okay, that's how they see it. Not what's real, but how they see it. Like I said, delusional. The way we use the word delusional quite often. Kind of a slang. But that's, yeah. And then the appearance thing. You know, the appearance thing has come up by, you know, like the ones that are doing, you know, that brings about more, even more than just the main four I mentioned. But the ones I have seen over a year, a couple, 2 or 3, I don't know how many years, say that, you know, getting things delivered to your home, food, groceries, whatever it is, people using a premium, you know, they use some type of term like premium service. And if they don't have enough money, if they're not in that higher class of people, this kind of stuff, who do you think you are to say that kind of thing? Then they should be using this because they're wanting tips. They're food delivery, grocery delivery people, and they're wanting big tips. And so they're going to blame the customer, which puts them in that, it just discounts all that they're going to say anyway. In my book, okay. Yeah, we can afford it. It took us a lot of years to get there, but we can. And I don't want to hear anybody talking down like that. We give good tips. But to talk down to people and say you're a premium service, and then you look like something the cat dragged in. See, that kind of contrast, that kind of conflict there. You know, nope. That does not match. And the hair all greasy, dirty, fingernails, not dirt underneath them. They're just not kept up. When you work in the food industry, it's never, especially like if you're going in groceries and you're going to a grocery store and you're picking out stuff. I know usually things are wrapped somehow, but some of it's not. And you got dirty fingernails. You got them on the bags. And just overall, I've seen some bad stuff with people. Oh, but they're a premium service. No, you're not. You don't fit what would be a premium service. So that kind of contrast, that kind of So all those things wind up in this one woman. She has, I guess you could say, she has them all, or pretty much most of them, wrapped up into one person. And some of it is just so disgusting. And to see her act as though like she has risen above all. Maybe if her goal was to be pure evil, maybe she did.